Hey YouTube, welcome to another video. In this episode, I would like to share additional information regarding the hot standby backup mode. But before I do that, let me just clarify what a hot standby backup means. I am not sure if you have seen my older video about my OC220, but in that video, I mentioned that the OC220 will be my cold backup hardware controller, which means that I have a device that I can use if and when my running controller goes down or if it goes bad. I prepared this table to share the differences between hot standby and cold standby. I have two columns in here. One is the hot standby and the other one is a cold standby. The current setup that I have right now is a hot standby configuration mode. It just means that both devices are running at the same time. As you can see here, I have a primary hardware and a secondary hardware, and both of them are running at the same time. Both of them are powered on. They are both connected to the live network and the configuration are synced in real time. However, in my previous video where I mentioned that the OC220 will be my cold backup standby, you will see here that the replacement device stays off until a failure happens. Also, the replacement device is often powered up. It's a known working device because it's brand new, and it also doesn't have any network connection, and the data and configurations are not synced, which means that I need to restore the latest current configuration to my cold standby backup device. In the last video, I have shared what are the prerequisites before setting up the hot standby backup mode, such as a LAN diagram and backing up the current running configuration. Make sure that the hardware controllers are the same make and model. Make sure that the firmware are updated and the same for both controllers. Both controllers are in the same network segment or same management VLAN, and the controller's time should be the same or within 20-second difference. Having said that, after using this for some time, let me share additional important information about this feature. So the first and foremost, after testing this configuration for a month, I found that not all Omada network devices supports hot standby backup mode. So as you can see here, this particular device, my EAP235, says here that the current device firmware does not support controller cluster deployment. It could just be a firmware update so that this particular device supports that. However, this device is using the current firmware and it still shows this particular message in here. Also, you will notice that in this particular screen, so I have both my primary and secondary controllers up and running. You will see that there is an upgrade. So before upgrading your controller's firmware, make sure that you start with the current secondary controller first. This reduces the amount of downtime because if you upgrade the primary first, the downtime will kick in and devices might switch to secondary controller. And then when the secondary is upgraded, it will trigger another downtime, prolonging the downtime. In this particular mode, make sure that you upgrade the secondary controller first. And to find out which one is the primary controller and the secondary controller, you have to go to settings and go to cluster. And you will see that the current secondary controller is 192.168.0.100. So this particular device. However, when I first configured this is configured as primary. But due to the testing and configuration that I have done for this device, it is currently a secondary controller. So my primary controller is 192.168.0.200. which is this particular device. You can see the IP address is 192.168.0.200. It is originally a secondary controller. You can see here 200. However, currently this is the primary controller. So which means that don't look here in the initial status. Make sure that you are looking at the cluster node list, which is the current primary and which is the current secondary before you attempt to upgrade any of your hardware controllers. So in this particular case, I have to start with the secondary, which is 192.168.0.100. So definitely not this one. So if I'm going to upgrade this, I will have to start with this particular device. And last but not the least, information I'd like to share is that I want to remind users that this feature is still currently in beta. So the cluster feature is not yet a fully released capability as of this posting and in this firmware version. In this part of the video, I will just do a voiceover because the upgrade process takes quite some time. The process starts with downloading the firmware, and then the controller will install the firmware. Afterwards, it will need to be rebooted. So in here, I'm just waiting for it to reboot. And then after the reboot, I have logged in. After the login, I am quickly notified with a pop-up notification about the abnormal primary and secondary link. I will discuss more about this in the later part of the video, but for now, I would like to show what to expect after the upgrade process has been completed. So the next step will be to upgrade the primary controller. So as you can see there, I went back to the primary controller and I upgraded this using the system settings and then checking the firmware upgrade instead of upgrading this one via the system notification on the upper right corner. And just the same, you will follow the downloading process, the installation process, and the rebooting process. Afterwards, I logged in as you can see here, and I'm going to the motions of confirming all the pop-up notifications. And afterwards, I check the log to see what's happening, and you will see here that the log showing the disconnection of the secondary controller. It shows on the cluster node list as well that the secondary controller is disconnected while the primary controller is currently connected, which is the current one that I'm currently using. Again, I check the status on the cluster node list in the secondary controller, and you will see that the secondary controller has an abnormal operation, which is the pop-up notification earlier on this particular screen when I first rebooted this. Okay. In here, I'm just rebooting this. Again, the reason is for the system to sync up, and I will discuss more about it on the later part of the video. For now, I'm going to the primary controller to show what needs to be done in order for the whole process to be completed. You will see here on the devices that all the devices are being readapted and reacquired, and I'm just waiting for all the devices to be connected. So the gateway is a very critical part of this device to make sure everything is working properly. As you can see, I'm just waiting for the connection to be completed, and that's how it goes. And there you go. I went back to the secondary controller. I'm just checking the status. And there you go. Now I have updated both of my devices. So the proper way to upgrade these devices will be to upgrade your secondary controller first. So which is this one, have it reboot. And then the next step will be to upgrade your primary controller, have it reboot. And once everything is upgraded, go to your devices and make sure that all the devices has been readapted to the system. If they are not readapted, especially the gateway, you might encounter a delay in syncing. But basically, you need to make sure that all devices has been connected. And afterwards, go back to your cluster. And then on your secondary controller, all you have to do is do a final reboot, and that should solve your abnormal issue. The reason why the abnormal issue shows up on the screen before was that when the secondary controller was upgraded and it tries to connect to the primary controller, there is a mismatch with the firmware. So what happens is that it fails to engage with the primary controller, and the error earlier was an IP error configuration. It's not really an IP error configuration, but mostly a mismatch in the firmware. They cannot communicate correctly. And since it's a secondary controller, all I have to really do is just reboot it again, because the primary controller will always manage all of your network devices. So if I go here, you will see that I will have full control of my network devices. And if I go to my network devices in here, you will see that everything will be connected for both of the system. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for this video. If you like this video, please like this video. If you don't like this video, please dislike the video. But do let me know what you don't like so that I can make those improvements in my future videos. Thank you again for watching my video. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you and bye-bye.